We're about a week removed from the Game Awards, and there's still people online that are upset about it, which I gotta be honest, I actually thought the show was good this year. I'd be lying if I said there weren't any announcements that I was hyped for. New Ninja Gaiden game, Okami sequel, and so on and so forth. Most of the outrage has to do with the award decisions, which I can understand, even if I disagree that Black Myth Wukong automatically deserved it over Astrobot. But my favorite thing about the awards is that no matter which game won Game of the Year, one particular person will lose his mind no matter which game wins. And that person is Harman Smith, one of the most infamous Nintendo fanboys on the site. So a day ago as I'm making this, Harman Smith made a video titled Astrobot and Paid For. Honestly, I gotta give him some points for the creative title, but that's where the crediting stops because we're about to watch this dumpster fire of a video.
There has been absolutely no uptick of interest in Astrobot. Nobody's talking about it, no one bought it, no one's playing it. Astrobot has remained completely irrelevant since it came out a couple of months ago.
So immediately Harman here is objectively wrong, and of course he has zero source as well. Astrobot absolutely had an uptick in interest after winning Game of the Year, and it also had a lot of people negatively talking about it, like Harman Smith. So there's absolutely a lot of people talking about Astrobot right now. And actually, I can confirm this with my own experience. I was going to buy Astrobot on Amazon this week, since it went on sale after it won Game of the Year, but unfortunately I wasn't quick enough, and the game sold out on Amazon. Also, I just want to point out the fact that no one's talking about it. Even though that's not true, it wouldn't even matter if it was. If it's the best game there, why does it matter if nobody's talking about it? That has zero relevance.
It didn't even really have like a honeymoon period. It had this like one small period where two-week blitz where like every YouTuber came out and tried to say that like this is the greatest platformer ever made, guys, which fell completely flat considering these were the kind of people who ignored games like Super Mario Bros. Wonder, you know, which were far better than Astrobot anyway.
Okay, this point is so stupid. I hate when he tries to frame Astrobot enjoyers like they hate Nintendo. The reality is, a lot of Nintendo fans like Astrobot. So what does he mean when he's saying, oh, they didn't like Mario Wonder? They probably played both games. Also, the whole, it was only popular for 2 weeks. Yeah, dipshit, that's called the cycle of a single-player game releasing. Single-player games do not remain relevant the same way Fortnite does. It's just how it works. It's obviously gonna have more players during its release.
Like, what about Astrobot was so interesting and so special to these people? And it does need to be addressed to a certain extent.
It seems like every single person who played Astrobot really enjoyed it. Have you played Astrobot, Harman Smith?
The shill campaign for Astrobot was unacceptable. It obviously was an attempt at astroturfing the game into relevancy. When you actually look at the sales numbers, when you look at how many people played it, when you look at like the what the game actually is, like the praise and hype this thing got was disproportionate to the reality.
What if someone used that same argument for Metroid games? Metroid games do not sell well at all, but they're amazing games. What do sale numbers have to do with whether or not it deserved Game of the Year? And once again, he has absolutely zero evidence for a so-called Shilling campaign for Astrobot, just absolutely zero source at all.
I said this before when the game came out, but it reminded me a lot of when Knack came out, right? When Knack first came out, what ended up happening was a bunch of people came out and called it like a major PlayStation 4 exclusive and a title that would that outperformed Mario, right? You know, it was a lot of the similar playbook, and immediately people realized this wasn't actually true, right? People realized it was like a shallow, generic hallway platformer, no different than Crash Bandicoot, right?
Yeah. Unlike Astrobot. The difference between Astrobot and Knack is people actually enjoyed playing Astrobot. It got great reviews from everyone who played it, and thus it won Game of the Year. This is a non sequitur comparison.
And obviously the backlash to this was so severe at the time that it eventually became a meme, right? You know, Knack became like a symbol for like everything wrong with the PlayStation 4 going forward.
I don't think it became a symbol for every PlayStation game ever, but okay. I just have the feeling that's a complete straw man argument. The PlayStation 4 was an amazing console, so I don't get what you're trying to say.
When you look at what's happening now with Astrobot, like what's happened is that YouTubers are a lot more comfortable shilling for products like this.
Where's your evidence they're shilling? Maybe they just, I don't know, like the game?
YouTubers were outsiders to the gaming industry. It felt like they were doing their own thing. They were talking about their own opinions. They were making their own hot take vids, whatever, right? They were doing their own thing, right? You know, if anything, they were like very...
Harman, can you just please edit your videos? It's so embarrassing. I swear, if you just edited your videos, I mean, this particular video is almost 10 minutes. This could be like a 6-minute video if you would just edit them. It's not that hard, bro. I wonder if he even has an editing software. Isn't like CapCut free?
But over the past several years, it has become more and more apparent that there is no distinguishing difference between mainstream game journalists and mainstream YouTubers. And that really needs to be talked about more, because I still feel like people don't really address this.
Well, yeah, it's definitely not as black and white as it used to be, but you still have no evidence that any of these YouTubers are shilling for Astrobot. And I mean, you're just a hypocrite in general, considering how much you shill for Nintendo games.
Sony is manipulating these people just as much as they manipulate traditional game journalists. Right? When you look at how game journals cover Astrobot, and when you look at YouTube, how YouTubers cover Astrobot, what you end up getting, generally speaking, is the exact same thing.
Maybe they just like the game. Hey guys, all these different groups of people are saying the same thing about this game. Could it be that it's just good? No. They have to be shilling. It's just such an obvious logical fallacy. Innocent until proven guilty.
People glazing this game, even though there are far superior Nintendo Switch games out there, right?
I mean, yeah, whether Astrobot is better than Mario Odyssey or Mario Galaxy, there's a debate to be had there. Are they far superior? Not from what I've seen. I've played every single 3D Mario game aside from Sunshine, and I can say that Astrobot seems to be around the same quality. It's not inherently so much more inferior just because Nintendo didn't make it.
Like, I can't emphasize enough, you never see these people come out and do this for Nintendo games.
Yeah, for sure. Which is why literally everybody under the sun praised Super Mario Odyssey when it came out, because it deserved praise. It's an amazing video game, just like Astrobot.
Every single time they'll come out and worship these games and act like there's some like major defining industry classic. And the idea of this, the purpose of it, is to distract general audiences from realizing just how much better Nintendo content is.
No source, doesn't even name any games. Oh my gosh. You guys might be right about him being a grifter. This guy is crazy.
You do not realize that Nintendo games are better unless you spend a significant amount of time playing all of their games.
Okay, so he says that he knows they're better because he spends a significant amount of time playing them. I'm no logictologist or anything, but if you spent a lot of time playing Sony games, you could say the exact same thing. Obviously, if you spend all your time playing Nintendo games, you're gonna think they're better, or at least prefer them. But you're literally admitting that you're entirely biased. Which, I mean, we didn't need you to admit it, we could already see for ourselves.
So the purpose of this is to create this illusion that PlayStation is competitive, that it's putting out bangers, that they're fixing their problems. That's definitely one of the things I've heard about Astrobot, is that like, ooh, Sony's learning from their mistakes. They're gonna put out more games like this. They're gonna compete with the Nintendo mascot platformers.
Yeah, and that's valid praise to give to Astrobot. It's a step in the right direction for Sony. Sony makes the same type of game over and over, and they're finally doing something different, and they're being rewarded for it. They won Game of the Year by trying something new and original. That's worth praise.
It's all just a big cope, really. When you really look at what like Astrobot is doing, like, you just come away feeling that this is just a very shallow imitation of the Nintendo model.
I love when he brands everything as just a cope. Meanwhile, that is the exact thing he's doing in this video. He is coping that Astrobot won Game of the Year because it's not a Nintendo game. If Astrobot was made by Nintendo, this guy would be completely meat riding the game. Other than which cardboard box is this game designed for? It's just so pathetic.
Straight up copy like Power World. You know, I wouldn't go that far. It's actually one of the reasons I haven't really been like condemning Astrobot the way I have like a lot of other products. At the very least, I think Astrobot probably was the best game nominated for the Game of the Year.
See, that's what I was saying in the beginning. He thinks Astrobot is nothing special, not even comparable to Nintendo games, but then he thinks it was the best game nominated. You want to know why he thinks that? Because there were 0 Nintendo games nominated for Game of the Year this year, which means he thinks that basically every game is at the very least subpar, which is wrong. All of the games nominated this year were pretty great, but of course, since they're not made by Nintendo, Harman Smith doesn't like it. And I'm just gonna put in a quick prediction. He's gonna say that either Echoes of Wisdom should have been nominated, or Mario and Luigi Brothership should have been nominated. He's gonna say one of those two should have been on there.
If its audience really loved Astrobot that much, they would be more interested in like other games like it, you know, other games like it on Nintendo hardware. But they didn't do that. Instead, Astrobot fans kind of did this thing where they were just like, no, Astrobot is bigger and better than every Mario game ever made. It outperformed every Mario game.
I never heard anybody ever say that. Who are you talking about, Harman? Who said that Astrobot is so much better than all the Mario games and was so much more successful? You're just pulling this out of your ass.
Yeah, I remember early on when they were trying to tell us that like Astrobot outperformed Mario Wonder and that like it was higher quality than any Mario game ever.
Who said that? Like maybe like 1 or 2 Sony fanboys on Twitter, like Unleashed or the Red Dragon. I didn't even hear them say anything about that. This is just an absolutely retarded argument. Like I don't even know what else to say. Anyway, I was gonna watch the rest, but I just don't want to, man. It's so bad. It's so bad. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today. That was a video of all time. That was truly something.